Hey guys, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank. How's your fandom treating you? So we're going to do a really quick, or as quick as we possibly can, no promises, on the Dark Knight's death metal tie-ins. So we've got 5 right here, and there's at least going to be a total of 5 more we'll have to do just by the end of this month. It's been kind of crazy. Dark Knight's death metal feels like it's one part epic story, other part tie-ins. So I've read other big DC event books, Infinite Crisis, Identity Crisis. I'm reading Future's End for some reason, and it's really making me look at my wrist thinking I should probably end it now. But here it feels like we're trying to do all that without trying to make it feel important. The problem is that I don't quite know where the unimportant stuff is just yet. I've got some ideas, but the advantage is that if you recall, in the previous issue of Death Metal, Diana gave everybody a rundown as to exactly what the plan is. So everyone's doing that plan, doing their specific plan, so nothing feels wasted, but at the same time it means a lot feels mandatory. So are these really tie-ins or just parts of just like the actual story itself? It's sort of hard to tell. I think I can pick 1 or 2, and some just feel like cash grabs. Maybe, but creative cash grabs, so I can ignore it for now. So let's start with the Guidebook, which really felt like a cash grab, not gonna lie, just because it's called a Guidebook. So it's really just about how everything went since the Justice League went through the door to find a way to best Perpetua. How the moment the League went through the door, the Dark Knights attacked. It's almost like this was an entirely planned event. It's almost like the Batman Who Laughs knew this was gonna happen. Oh wait, he did. But this is really, it's actually really kind of a scary moment when you think about the Dark Knights as a whole during this invasion. Each of these Dark Knights is Bruce Wayne if he devoted himself to just one of these aspects, one gimmick, whether it be Atlantean physiology, magic, having the body of a dinosaur, the emotional spectrum. There's a Sinestro Corps Batman, and we're just seeing that. And not only are they devoted to perfecting this one particular craft, they've also been prepared to deal with anyone who also uses that skill set. That Batman, if he focused on one thing, would possibly be non-stoppable. And also remember, like, the morals are off here too. So yeah, it's kind of scary in some ways. And the rest of the book itself focuses on smaller stories like Harley meeting the hyena George, Diana serving as a jailer on Themyscira, and Batman recruiting Jonah Hex. These are all decent stories, and to the Guidebook's credit, these do feel like things you'd want to know. Like, how's it been for Diana here? How's she been able to corral people? How has Harley been surviving up here? And again, how did Batman meet Jonah Hex? These are all interesting ideas. I'm more interested in how we got the Black Lantern ring, but whatever. Next comes Legends. So Legends goes in a slightly different direction and focuses more on looking at many of the different Dark Knights with emphasis on the Batman Who Laughs. The first is the story of the Batman Who Laughs himself, as he is placed in the body of Batman Manhattan, a Bruce Wayne that the Batman Who Laughs killed when he saw him recreating the experiment of Dr. Manhattan. And he reflects on his life and the nature of Batman, and that despite everything, Batman has always been a reactionary figure, reacting to the fear created one night in an alley, and that would also be true of the Dark Knights from the Dark Multiverse. And with this knowledge and this perspective, the Batman Who Laughs decides that he must become more. Instead of being the child in the alley, he will be the bullet in the alley. That is the Dark Multiverse, the darkest night, so to speak. And to do that, he needs to absorb Wally West, who still has the power of Dr. Manhattan inside of him, and that will definitely make him stronger than Perpetua. The next story of note is a story of the Darkest Robin, that the Darkest Knight made his Goblin King. I prefer to call him the Goblin King. And this story is actually really crazy, with some really weird art by Riley Rosmo, who keeps getting work. I don't know. But to be fair, this artwork works for this story. He's sort of like David Finch. David Finch does not really do well with images, with anything shown during the day. A lot of his characters tend to blend into each other. It's hard to distinguish one from the other. Everyone looks a bit too intense, sometimes a bit too concentrated, but it really works for, say, Gotham City and that horror aspect. This art here is great for that. But anyway, this story reveals that this Goblin and every other Goblin is just a young Bruce Wayne shortly after the death of his parents. They're Bruce Waynes who never got to be Batman, but this Bruce Wayne is pretty much a psycho. His entire life he's been tormenting animals, fighting kids, setting cars on fire, microwaving cats, pushing workmen off the roof, and even killing Joe Chill and his parents in the alley, and later killing Gordon and Alfred when they confront him about it. It's actually kind of unsettling. After that, the other stories are just kind of alright. It just sort of fell when you read about the Goblin King. Like, why this was in the middle of the book, I don't know. This should have been at the end. Because I don't even remember. I don't even think of bothering to remember the rest of it. It just doesn't matter. This kid scares me. And he's now pretty much the right hand of the Batman Who Laughs, of the now Darkest Knight. It's frightening. So then comes Trinity. Now, Trinity may be my favorite out of the tie-ins so far, and it honestly should have been in the main line, as it goes into the actual plot moving forward. Everything else just sort of says, hey, this is what's also happening at the same time, or maybe happened before. This feels like we're actually going straight forward, straight along the story. The League splitting up with teams of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Jonah Hex, Harley Quinn, and my boy Jarro are heading to Castle Bat to access the 3 Crisis Worlds of Power Perpetua and capture their energy in the Alfred boxes Darkfather created. Because, it's Bruce Wayne. He doesn't have a mother, so he has a Alfred. So the Trinity head to Castle Bat, which is being protected by the Grim Knight, Batmazo, Warbat, and the Mindhunter, who we'll see later on. He doesn't really quite matter right here. And to help get them through, the Swamp Thing merges with the remaining Green to get them under the castle, where Jarro senses the Batman Who Laughs is chasing Wally West and the Flashes, and the team is met by Chiropter, Arc, the Pearl, Black Monday, and Cole. The fights ensue with 2 really big reveals come up. The one known as Pearl actually isn't a version of Bruce, but a version of his mother. And Cole is actually revealed to be the daughter of Bruce Wayne and Diana. So the Wonder Bat fans have jumped up in joy that this character exists. This would be the second reference to a possible child of Bruce and Diana. Also, the first one was also revealed by the Batman Who Laughs in Dark Knight's Metal. Jarro was able to control Castle Bat to get them to open a way to escape closer to the portal, and they find Barbatos, and Batman sort of blames him for what's going on, but Barbatos says that the Dark Multiverse grew in the hearts of people under the protection of the heroes. That the Dark Multiverse it doesn't just exist, it's created by the multiverse itself. It's a dark reflection. It can only exist to reflect that which already exists. And he points out that the heroes have done a better job, or possibly in this case, if the writers had done a better job, we wouldn't have to come to another Crisis event, which is kind of hilarious. Meanwhile, Hex, Harley, Swamp Thing, and Jarro are attacked by the Goblin King, who kills Jonah Hex, and because he has his own utility belt, and it gets darker later on. And the others are barely able to escape, but Jarro has to be close to the portal to guide the Trinity back, and the Trinity meanwhile splits up to deal with the Crisis events. Batman arrives at Crisis on Infinite Earths and is apprehended by the Anti-Monitor. Superman arrives at Final Crisis and is met by Darkseid, and Wonder Woman arrives in Infinite Crisis and is met by Superboy Prime, who reveals that in these Crisis worlds, the heroes lost. And that was really cool. So the reason this is my favorite is because, again, we're moving the story forward. We get to see a lot of different characters. The Batman Who Laughs, like the Dark Knights, to me have always been the real meat of this story. And seeing how I want to see how the superheroes are also affected by this, affected by these meetings with other characters. How did Hal Jordan feel when he fought the Dawnbreaker? Aquaman when he fought the Drowned. How did that affect these characters? But whatever. Also, anything with Jarro, I love, because Jarro, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Jarro is best Robin, fight me. So then we come to Speed. So So this story spins out of the pages of Death Metal issue 3, where Jay, Wally, and Barry are running from the Batman who laughs, now calling himself the Darkest Knight, who wants to take the Manhattan energy that Wally has. The trio of speedsters are then met by Wallace West, and in reality, the Darkest Knight knows he doesn't have long to wait as the Speed Force is dying, so they can't run for long as each step burns it out more and more. He even sends zombie speedsters after them. Wally is able to use the Speed Force formula to stop time, and he reveals that the best way to get out of this and fix everything lies in getting the Mobius chair back, and that the Darkest Knight wants it, having stolen it before, but the chair rejected him. Wally wants to get the chair back, but to do that, they need to run back towards the zombie horde, and it leads to a little conversation with Barry and Wally, which is really about Barry accepting that he needs to stop being afraid of losing Wally, and this feels like something I'd heard before in Williamson's run, so yeah, if you want to see Barry constantly apologizing for constantly ruining people's lives, after constantly promising to not ruin people's lives, you should pick up Williamson's Flash run. It's actually really good. The Flashes then run out, and one by one, they fall to give Wally the chance he needs to take back the Mobius chair, which he does, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Another really great one. And finally, we have Multiverse's End. So Multiverse End is really about how the Green Lantern team is out trying to destroy the antennae that transmit crisis energy to Perpetua on Earth 3. John Stewart is being interrogated by the crime syndicate member Owlman, while Ultraman and Superwoman deal with President Superman and Wonder Woman. And Owlman wants to know what's really going on, and John gives him the full rundown, while the Lanterns on other worlds deal with destroying the antennae on worlds full of Nazis, which is also apparently in Detroit for some reason, vampires, and even the Justice Lords get taken out. Owlman ultimately admits his only real reason for even listening to John Stewart is primarily because he really hates the Batman Who Laughs. Because the Batman Who Laughs is sort of taking his place as Batman's inverse, the other Batman, like the Dark Reflection. And Owlman doesn't like this, like, no, not him. I hate that guy. Ultimately, what gets Owlman to join the fight against Perpetua is finding out that he, as Owlman, has been killed and essentially rebooted 3 times, which makes him happy, as it means he, whatever the continuity, he is someone who must always exist in the multiverse. He's a constant. That's pretty much it. There's some really interesting fights here. Like, there's a baby Batman, a Batman that put his brain in the body of a baby for some reason. I don't know. Look, there's a T-Rex Batman, there's a Batmobile Batman. You know, not all of these are gems. They all just work with what they want. Maybe Bruce got high when they're like, dude, what if I was a baby? I don't know. Anyway, so that's our 5 Dark Knight's Death Metal tie-ins. Again, I would say Trinity would probably still be the best. Multiverse's End is fun, but I would have to give it to Speed after Trinity. I think those two are really just great because not only do they really contribute to the bigger plot, but they have a lot of great character moments. And of course, Multiverse's End, if you really like the Crime Syndicate, if you like Owlman, they have something to do. It's great. Whatever. So anyway, with that in mind, we'll bring this video to close here. If you're new to the Debugger Think Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out some other videos, and I'll catch you all later. This is the Debugger Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching, and as always, may your fandom serve you well.